Okay, let's dive in. Thinking about just getting around the city, right? You've got traffic, the whole parking nightmare. Maybe you're looking for something a bit greener. Transportation's always shifting, always looking for those smarter answers. And the source material we're looking at today, it takes us straight to one of these potential answers, the Honda EVO electric bike. So this deep dive, it's all about getting under the skin of what this specific article is telling us.
Exactly. Yeah, the mission here isn't just, e-bikes in general. We're really focusing in on the details, the things that stand out, the identity the source gives the EVO. We want to help you figure out what this article sees as the main draw for city riders like you.
Right. So starting with how the source frames it, the EVO is positioned as, well, purely for urban commuting. The article really hits three main points: sleek design, being eco-friendly, and having some cutting-edge tech. It calls it a bold solution for modern riders. And it jumps right into the numbers, the specs. First thing that jumps out, from the table anyway, is the weight, just 18 kilograms. That's what, under 40 pounds? Seems incredibly light for an e-bike.
It really does. And that weight is something the source emphasizes, and for good reason. In the city, light just means easier handling. Simple as that.
Right.
Easier to weave through traffic, sure, but also think about portability. Carrying it upstairs, maybe,
Yeah.
or lifting it onto a train.
Yeah, good point.
That 18-kilogram source really presents it as key for making urban life work with the bike.
Okay, and speed. The article says 25 kilometers per hour, so about 15.5 miles per hour. And it specifically notes this lines up with most e-bike rules.
And that compliance part is, I think, pretty important. It suggests Honda's probably aiming for places where that speed limit keeps it in the standard e-bike class. Avoiding the need for licenses, registration, stuff that makes it harder for city folks to just hop on.
Keeps it simple.
Exactly. More like a regular bike, just with that electric boost.
And giving that boost is a brushless DC hub motor, rated 250 watts. Now, here's that interesting bit from the source. Maybe a bit confusing. It says 335 horsepower equivalent right after 250 W. We're just reporting what's in the article here.
Well, yeah, that comparison is definitely unusual for a 250W motor. Maybe what the source is trying to get across, perhaps not super technically, is a feeling of power.
Like quick acceleration.
Yeah, like effortless acceleration compared to pedaling alone, maybe. Not a literal horsepower thing like a car, but like you said, the article gives the 250W number, which is pretty standard for this kind of e-bike assist.
Got it. The battery is listed as 36 volts, 10 amp hours, lithium ion.
And that 10 AC rating, plus the efficiency the source talks about, that's where you get the range figure.
Which the article puts it up to 60 kilometers, around 37 miles, they say, on a charging time. Standard charger, 4 to 6 hours.
So you look at those main specs, 18 kilos, the compliant speed, 60-kilometer range. The source is really painting a picture, isn't it? A bike for moving within the city easily. Enough range for most daily commutes without needing a top-up during the day. And light enough that it's not a hassle when you actually have to, park it or move it around off the bike.
Okay, so let's connect those specs to the actual ride.
Yeah.
Performance, efficiency, how the article describes it. Obviously, it's zero emissions with the electric motor. But the big feature the source really pushes is the battery. It's not just the range, the 60 kilometers for your commute or running errands. It's that it's removable. This seems like the really key thing for city living. The source stresses you can just pop it out, take it inside to charge, home, office, wherever. You're not tied to finding an outdoor plug or dragging the whole bike somewhere. That feels like a genuine convenience boost for the city, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That removable battery, it tackles one of the biggest practical headaches of owning an e-bike if you live in an apartment or don't have like a garage with power. It means you don't have to lug the whole bike inside or worry about leaving an expensive battery out where someone might mess with it.
Right.
It just makes charging way more flexible.
And the source also talks about regenerative braking as a key performance tech.
Yeah, regen braking. It's smart tech, especially for the city. Basically, whenever you slow down or use the brakes, the motor kind of works backwards. It captures some of that energy, sends it back to the battery.
So it adds a bit back.
It does. It's not a massive amount, but in stop-start city traffic, it all adds up. Helps stretch your range a little further, makes the whole thing more efficient, just like the article highlights.
Okay, switching gears from performance to looks and feel, design, comfort. The article spends some time here. Describes it as having a sleek and modern aesthetic.
Yeah.
Talks about clean lines, compact frame, sort of minimalist, aluminum alloy frame, lightweight. Also mentions integrated LED lighting, front and back, but quite subtle. And comfort comes up too. Specifically an ergonomic upright riding position. says the handlebar and seat position encourage that. And you can adjust the saddle height and handlebars.
Yeah, and those design choices, they really circle back to that urban commuter idea, don't they? An upright position is just, well, more comfortable for shorter rides with lots of stopping and starting, less strain on your back, your neck, wrists compared to being hunched over.
Makes sense.
And you combine that with the lightweight we talked about, the 18 kilos. The source suggests that makes it super easy to handle, really maneuverable, which you need in busy streets, right? Dodging potholes, squeezing into parking spots.
True.
The article even mentions the tire size, 26 by 1.75 inch, finding a good balance, it says, between grip and agility.
Okay, let's get into the tech side. The source calls the EVO a smart connected companion. The headline feature seems to be the smartphone app integration. What does the article say this app actually does? Let's see, GPS navigation, battery monitoring, which connects back to range confidence. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Ride stats, and even security stuff like movement alerts if the one tries to move your bike.
That's quite a bit packed in there.
Yeah, and on the bike itself, an LCD display, clear, readable in sunlight apparently, shows the basics, speed, battery, what ride mode you're in.
You know, that level of tech integration, it feels pretty significant for an urban e-bike. The app stuff, the navigation, knowing exactly how much juice you have left, those security pings. It really adds to the convenience, maybe peace of mind, too, for a side rider.
Right.
It makes the bike feel less like just a machine and more like a connected part of your routine.
And the source mentions the ride modes again here. Eco, Standard, Sport. Describes them as tech-enhancing the ride, one for range, one balanced, one for quicker acceleration.
Yeah, tailoring the feel.
And the full LED lighting system, headlight, taillight, even turn signals, gets another mention for visibility and being energy efficient.
Exactly. So the tech isn't just, features for feature's sake. It's all supporting that main goal, making city travel easier, more convenient, and safer. The modes let you adjust to your ride, the lights help you see and be seen, and the app adds that layer of info and security. It all ties together in the source's description.
So bringing it all back down to earth, everyday life, how does this EVO fit into, say, the practicalities of urban living, storage, that kind of thing? The source describes storage as, well, minimalist, but adaptable. It can take frame-mounted bits and pieces, and it's compatible with aftermarket stuff like handlebar bags or saddlebags.
Right, so it's not like a cargo bike designed to haul your groceries for the week. But the source suggests it's meant to handle your daily essentials laptop bag, maybe some small items, while keeping that clean, uncluttered look.
And guess what comes up again?
Let me guess. The removable battery.
You got it. Reinforcing how practical it is for charging anywhere. And the source mentions potentially extending your range if you carry to spare, though that adds weight.
True. But the flexibility is the main point there.
And yeah, the compact size, the lightweight. The source keeps hitting those points for making parking and storage easy, which is crucial if you're in a small apartment or dealing with crowded bike racks.
Or even taking it on public transport sometimes, as the article suggests might be possible.
Yeah.
The source really seems keen to emphasize that this bike is designed to slot into your city life, not force you to make big changes for it. The portability, the charging flexibility, they're presented as solutions to common city problems.
Okay, so let's try and pull this all together for you, the listener.
Yeah.
Based purely on the source material. What's the final picture of the Honda EVO? It really seems positioned as this mix of accessible style, practical performance tuned for city speeds and typical commute distances, and quite a bit of integrated tech.
Yeah, the article seems to be talking directly to maybe eco-conscious city dwellers, people perhaps new to e-bikes who'd appreciate something light and not intimidating, and definitely anyone who puts a high value on convenience and efficiency for that daily grind.
Right, and it does mention safety features too. The front disc brake, the regen adding some braking force, the LED lights, those app alerts. It sounds like the EVO, at least as described in this article, is trying to directly answer those common city transport issues. Traffic, parking problems, wanting zero emissions, even range anxiety, tackled by that easy charge removable battery.
Exactly. The whole package described seems aimed at creating a specific kind of urban travel experience, one that's agile, connected, and relatively hassle-free.
So wrapping up our deep dive into this EVO article.
Maybe something to think about. Drawing from what we've discussed here, consider the direction city transport seems to be heading, based on bikes like this described in the source. There's this interesting balance, isn't there, between physical simplicity, lightweight, minimalist design, and quite sophisticated technology underneath. apps, connectivity, energy recovery. It makes you wonder, are we moving towards vehicles that are less about just raw power or how much they can carry, and more about how seamless